Welcome back. Have you ever noticed how your feelings towards someone change after you take the opportunity to get to know them? Here at CityView TV, we believe we become a more involved society the more we know and understand about each other. Because of this, we have launched an ongoing series on 30 Minutes called I Am Richland, as a way to introduce you to the many talented, hardworking, and unique people that, like you and I, call Richland home.
Over the past year, we have featured some very eclectic residents with unique passions. But this month, we introduced you to a resident with a collection so unique. There are only a handful of people in our region who share in his passion. You see, over the past 3 decades, Paul Ziemer has feverishly collected vintage telephones, and his collection currently sits at over 300 pieces.
My collecting days date back to when I was 5 years old. I got my first railroad lantern when I was 5 and developed a small collection of railroad lanterns from there. And then it grew into insulators and bottles. And then I got fascinated with telephones because my mother was a telephone operator for Illinois Bell Telephone. And I can remember the installer coming out to our house when I was about in the 6th grade, and he had this bag of tools on his side, and he was installing a new phone, and he was working with it, and I'm watching him work on it, and I thought, this is pretty cool stuff. What we have here is a Garford manufactured switchboard from around 1915. It looks like we've just received a call now by the drop of the flag, so we're going to go ahead and plug in. Number, please. 256, understand. Then I'm going to pull the other plug out and connect it in over here. Wow. Okay, you should be connected. It's a hobby, first of all, for me. I enjoy the history of telephones. I've always been fascinated with how they work and what makes them work and what goes into actually putting a phone together. So I started taking them apart and looking at all the components and different pieces and things, and found that this is really interesting, So then I started digging into books and started wiring them up and running my own lines, and before long I had a telephone network in the house, and it drove my wife crazy for a while with all the bells ringing. What we have here today is a Williams Telephone and Supply Company phone that was manufactured around 1903. What's interesting to note about this particular phone that it has a local and long distance collecting station as well, which was a feature of this phone. The way that it would work is you'd come up to the phone and you'd ring down like you normally would talking to the operator, and then she would ask you for your number or who you're calling, and then she would say, deposit the correct amount of coins. So in this case, it would be 35 cents. So you take a quarter and drop it in there, and you hear the gong, and then you take a dime, and then she could hear that through this transmitter, and then she would then connect you to the party that you were trying to call.
Hi, my name is Paul Ziemer, and I am Richland.
The Richland Public Library is displaying a historical collection of Paul's telephones in the lobby showcase until March 9th. His display is called 100 Years of Telephones and includes telephones from the early 1900s, including the wall mount phone, the candlestick phone of the 1920s, the princess phone of the 1960s, and early cell phones. His display also includes old local phone books, which are fun because you can try and locate old family members and friends in them.
Pretty good, Gary.